Today we're turning back to the Old Testament, to Genesis chapter 24, verses 1 through 67, which is the wonderful story of finding a wife for Isaac. Abraham sends his servant to find a wife for his son, and he commands that servant. We hear the servant praying to God, God of my master, please give me success today. And before he finishes speaking, we're told in verse 15, there was Rebekah. And Rebekah is a remarkable young woman. And our verse for the day is verse 19. When she had finished giving him a drink, that is the servant of Abraham, she said, I will draw water for your camels also until they have finished drinking. If you read all of Genesis chapter 24, we note five admirable things about Rebekah. First of all, she's charming. She's a beautiful young woman. The second thing is she's swift and kind. She's swift to show friendliness. She immediately responds to the request of Abraham's servant. The third thing we see, which is highlighted in our verse for the day, is what I like to call her and then some attitude. And I could do a whole sermon on just this one verse of when someone asks you to do something, do we just do the minimum that's required, the minimum that's asked, or do we have a Rebekah-like and then some attitude? He asks for a drink, and she not only gives him a drink, but she says she's going to draw water for all his camels. How many pounds of water do you think she had to draw up from a well until all of the camels and his entourage were satisfied and their thirst was quenched? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of muscle, a lot of time. And yet that's who Rebekah was. She had an and then some attitude that all of us would be blessed to follow. If you keep reading through chapter 24, you also see towards the end of the chapter in verse 58 her decisiveness. And they called Rebekah and said to her, will you go with this man? And she said, I will. And then the final thing we see from her is that she commands great devotion. And in verse 67 at the end of the chapter it says, then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent. He took Rebekah and she became his wife, and he loved her. And we can understand why, especially if you read the whole chapter, why this beautiful, friendly, helpful, decisive woman is so worthy of devotion. I hope you'll take from this video today and this wonderful story from Genesis 24 a desire to have an and then some attitude like Rebekah. When someone asks you to do something, don't just be friendly and do the minimum. Go a little bit more.